All right. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another one of our Israelites gathering Shabbat studies. My name is Yadon Yasharal. I'm with my brother Kased Yasharal. Shabbat Shalom, Mark. How you doing?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
All praises, all praises. How your new year been going so far?
So far so good. I can't complain, and trying my best to draw closer to the Father, and as well as draw my family closer to Him as well. And this holy day season is very great opportunity to do just that.
Praise Yah, praise Yah. So there's a lot going on in the world. So we want to stay focused. We had our new year. Shauna told everybody this particular year, it aligned with a lot of the lunar calendar people that follow the moon. So we share the same daytime version of New Year. So they had their new moon around the 18th, which would have been the daytime portion of our New Year, which started on the 17th, Tuesday night. So before we get into class, we're just going to kind of take a look and give you a quick review of why we started our New Year Tuesday night. So most people understand that's been with us for years know that we use the Enochian calendar or the Zadokian calendar, which is a lunisolar. So it uses the moon and the sun, and it uses the ancient calculation of 364 days. So with 364-day years, if you divide that up into 12 months, it gives you 52 weeks of 7-day weeks. So the math is perfect. So with that, we're not going to go through the full calendar breakdown, but what we understand is that when you have equal day and equal night coming out of the winter, which means the daytime has grown to equal the duration of the nighttime coming out of the winter. That is called the equilux. Many people confuse that with the equinox, but that is called the equilux, and that is the portion
Our apologies to everyone. We are having some technical difficulties today. So please hang tight for a bit as we try to figure things out.
All right, we back up.
Yep.
Okay, praise Yah. Um, as you can see, we've been having a bit of technical difficulties, but we're trying to fight through it. Um, again, just to recap, just quickly, how did we arrive at our Tuesday the 17th start? What we're looking for is the point where you're going to have equal day and equal night coming out of the winter time. So when you have equal day and equal night coming out of the winter time, that is day 364, which is the last day of the year out of 364-day year. The following night, which starts New Year, is going to be less than 12 hours in duration. And the daytime portion, which will be the first daylight portion of the year, which would be the daytime portion of March 18th, Wednesday, that would be the first time the daytime is longer than the night. So what we have to do is we have to look for when is the equal day and equal night. So it's a little bit more complicated because of the way that they calculate their daytime portion. All right, so let me pull this up real quick. All right, let's share the screen. All right, so we're trying to share the screen. It's having a bit of a difficulty. I'm trying to fight through it, family. Let's see. All right. Are you able to see this screen? Let me check the
Yes.
app. Okay. All right. So what we're looking for here, and this is the month of March 2026, and this is for Jerusalem, because we base everything on Jerusalem to understand when did the year start. So we look right around here. You have between the 16th and the 17th, you have equal day and equal night. Keep in mind that they calculate by midnight starting the calendar day. So it's going to be a little bit different, but you got the general area, the 16th, the 17th, around there. So if you look at the calendar, you understand that the 17th, that's Tuesday. So that Tuesday night, the 17th at nighttime would start your new year. All right. So why don't we use the equinox? The equinox happens around the 20th, the 21st, around there. Why will we not use that? Because that's what the world says is equal day and equal night. Well, if we are technical, we can look right here. It'll tell you why is the day not exactly 12 hours on the equinox. All right. So equinox in Latin means equal night, giving the impression that the night and day on the equinox are exactly 12 hours long. And even though this is a common wisdom, it isn't entirely accurate. It says the day and night are only nearly equal on the September equinox and on the March equinox. In fact, most locations on Earth tend to enjoy more daylight hours than nighttime hours on those 2 days of the year. And this is based on, and they say, the Earth's atmosphere, which is BS, because at the end of the day, we're not on a sphere. So that doesn't make any sense. And it says our definition of sunrise and sunset. So that's where your issue is. How do they define sunrise and sunset? All right. The equilux is when day and night are actually equal. All right. So how do they determine sunrise and sunset? It says right here, one of the reasons why most locations on Earth do not enjoy exactly 12 hours of daytime and 12 hours of nighttime on the equinoxes is how sunrise and sunset are defined. Now see, they'll tell you the truth, but you got to read here a little, there a little. All right. If sunrise and sunset were defined as the moment the geometric center of the sun passes the horizon, then the day and night would be exactly 12 hours long. So they could literally just calculate sunrise and sunset when the sun, the center of the sun, meets the horizon. Then you would have exactly 12 hours and 12 hours day and 12 hours night on the equilux. It would be perfect. But that's not what they do, because they like confusion. It says sunrise and sunset are defined as the exact moment the upper edge of the sun disk touches the eastern and western horizon. So rather than letting the sun go halfway to give you a halfway point, as soon as the tip of the sun touches the horizon, they consider that sunset or sunrise. So that changes things. So that's why on the equilux, you have equal day and equal night. And on the equinox, all you really having is a shadow across the equator, leaving half of the northern hemisphere in sunlight and the southern hemisphere in darkness. So that's that. Now, let's take a look at this Qumran calendar real quick. If we look at the Qumran calendar, this is one of the oldest calendars we have, which was buried with the Dead Sea Scrolls. Notice it doesn't have pagan names. It just has Abib as the first month of the year, just like Torah. Torah only gave 1 month of the year, Abib. And it has the days of the week, same way. It only gave 1 day of the week a name, the Sabbath, the 7th day of the week. So in the ancient calendar system, you have first day, second day, third day, fourth day. Notice Abib starts the 4th day of the year. And when does the 4th day of the year starts? It starts Tuesday night, which begins the 4th day, calendar day. And in the 4th daytime portion is what we call Wednesday. So even the ancient calendars line up. So everything lines up of why we start our day and why we start our calendar on the 4th day of the week, and why we had our new year starting Tuesday night, the 17th. So with that being said, we'll get back into class. The title of our Shabbat study today is the Light of Our Passover, the Light of Our Passover. And it's very important for us to understand when our Passover starts. But for us to know when our Passover starts, we got to understand, when does the year start? You have a lot of people that are starting the year based on the moon. And again, we understand, if we go back to our classes, the lunar calendar is 354 days. The solar calendar is 364 days. So there's a 10-day difference. So you can't use the moon to start your new year every year. It just won't add up. The numbers don't add up. So how do we know that? How do we get to a starting point? We just showed you that. Well, how do we calculate the Passover? So before we get into that, let's open up in Isaiah, Yeshayah, chapter 28. So we're going to do a new share. We're going to open up in Isaiah, chapter 28, and I want to read a few verses here. Yeshayah, Isaiah, chapter 28, and we're going to read verses 5 through 13. And thank you, everybody that hung in there with us. We're doing our best to keep these classes coming, and it's just sometimes it'd be a little difficult, but it's not going to be lack of effort on our part.
Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 5. In that day shall Yahweh of hosts be for a crown of glory and for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people, and for a spirit of judgment to him that sits in judgment, and for strength to them that turn to the battle to the gate. But they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean.
All right, so this is the description of our leadership as it is to this day. The people that are self-appointed leaders have stumbled through strong drink. And now this is metaphoric. Now, obviously, we do have people that have issues like that. But at the end of the day, what this is talking about in leadership is talking about these doctrines that they are taking in order to, say, hey, just tithe a bunch of money to me and everything's going to be all right. Or, hey, I'm the Mashiach. You ain't got to keep the law no more. Whatever foolishness that they come. These are the people that have been our self-appointed leaders, which have the most amount of people. So this is the condition of them, and to the place where there's no place clean. So when our leadership is like that, you think the Most High is going to allow us to stay in our land and pollute the land with that type of leadership? All right, verse 9.
Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
All right, so because of the filthiness that we're supposed to be learning from our leaders, all our elders and our people that were before us, and we're supposed to be gaining our knowledge from them. But if they're filthy and they're under strong delusion, what happens to the knowledge? That we just all suffer and don't know anything because leadership failed? No, the Most High is always going to have a remnant. So he's going to make sure that knowledge goes on. Even though we fell as a nation, the knowledge still is forever. That's how we're here to this point. There was always a remnant that kept that knowledge. And he said, who am I going to teach this knowledge to? And who am I going to allow to understand the doctrine? He's saying those that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. So these are people that have a foundation. They took the time to get foundation and are not stuck on baby precepts. They understand the weightier matters of the law. Those are who he's going to teach knowledge, not to people that are stuck in their flesh and have agenda. They're still stuck on the milk of this word, which is to love Yah and love your neighbor as yourself. Why would you want to take advantage of your neighbor? You wouldn't do that to yourself. So you stuck on milk if you haven't got past that point. All right, verse 10.
For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
All right, so this is the way that when he's talking about who he's going to teach this knowledge to and who he's going to allow and make to understand this doctrine. Those that have enough sense to understand that the milk of this word has shown us that you can't read this linear. You can't just go to one chapter and read it and think you're going to understand everything. You can't read the instructions one time in one place in one account and think you're just going to understand the weightier matters. You have to utilize the entirety of the book, just like you can't read one chapter in the book and you understand the whole story. You might got a gist of it, but you're not going to understand the entirety. So Yah broke it up, precept upon precept, which means command upon command, line upon line, here a little, there a little. So this requires patience, the patience of the milk of this word, to understand that I have to take this little by little. You can't jam a steak down a baby's mouth. You got to give them milk little by little. So we have to take this word little by little. All right.
Verse 11. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people, to whom he said, this is the rest wherewith you may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing, yet they would hear not.
All right. So when he says, I will be your rest and I will be your peace, this is the peace. Because despite, having quasi Hebrew, because we speak half English, half Hebrew, we confused because we getting we got stammering lips. We speaking in a language that goes from right to left, and we speaking from a mind frame of left to right, which is Greek backwards. So English, excuse me, backwards. So we're using stammering lips and another language, speaking to our people a word that was written in ancient times. But despite that, it's giving us peace and refreshing us and giving us rest, because he's allowing us and making us to understand this word. All right, finish that last verse.
Verse 13. But the word of Yahweh was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken.
All right, so that way you like, wait a minute, hold on. I thought this was to our benefit. But then now it's saying, well, I'm giving you all this line upon line, precept upon precept, not so you can understand. No, it says so you can fall backwards and be broken and snared and taken. Well, how are you going to fall backwards and be broken and snared and taken when the instructions is given to you? How is the instructions going to make you fall? It's not the instructions that's making you fall. It's our lack of patience, our lack of following instructions. It told us that it's going to give it to us precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. You're not going to be able to get it all in one spot. You're going to have to put in the effort. You can't be a lazy learner. And you have to confirm so you can get a proper understanding. So this is how it's given unto you to know the secret and wisdom of Yah, and not to another person, when that other person might be standing right next to you. All right, so let's keep that perspective. Let's move forward. Let's go to Yohanan, John chapter 11. All right, we're going to go to Yohanan, John chapter 11, and we're going to read verses 7 through 10. And again, a lot of times he gives us these parabolic understandings and his multiple messages. This is the most complex writing in the history of the world. There's so many layers to this, but ultimately he's going to tell you the truth, period. It's up to you to take a little bit here, a little bit there, confirm this, confirm that, and put it together and understand how to use that to evade evil. So here we have a parable that Yahweh Shai has given us, but he's also giving us a proof point. And Shabbat Shalom, Sis Stephanie. Good to see you. And I hope you and your Ish enjoyed your born day the other day. Shabbat Shalom, Sis Evie. Good to see you. Shabbat Shalom to my big brother Yafi Yehuda and my other big brother Aaron Hicks. Good to see you. And a big shalom to my bro Dre Day. Akyam, good to see you, family. And as always, Shabbat Shalom, Sis Ariel. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging in there. We're doing our best. So I did not want to miss another class. So praise y'all, we got it going. All right. So we're reading Yohanan, John chapter 11, and we're going to read 7 through 10. And Mashiach is going to give us a mystery right here.
All right, John chapter 11 and verse 7. Then after that says he to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. His disciples say unto him, Master, the Jews or the Yahudim of late sought to stone you, and goest you there again?
So they're like, man, these people trying to kill you. And you still going there? They're like, man, we might want to stay out of Jerusalem, man. You know, when the leaders don't like you, it's just a matter of time. Tamshi?
Verse 9. Yahushua answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbles not, because he sees the light of this world.
All right, so there's a lot going on in this one statement here. First of all, they're saying, are you going to Judea when these folks is trying to stone you? They trying to kill you, and you still going there? And he said, look, aren't there 12 hours in a day? If any man walk in a day, he stumbles not. But don't you think if you're hiding from somebody, you would go there at night? Because you're like, hey, look, they trying to kill me. I don't want to go in the daytime when somebody can identify me and see me. I want to go at night, right? But that's the opposite. He's saying, nah. If you walk in the night, then you're going to stumble. So in other words, listen, I'm going to walk in the light so that my good deeds can be seen. In the light of this world where I have direction, I'm not hiding to do righteousness. That's one thing. And then on the second point, what does this have to do with our Passover? Well, he's letting you know the structure, how the day works. He said there's 12 hours in a day. So does that mean that the whole calendar day is 12 hours? No. He's saying the daytime portion is considered 12 hours. So that means the nighttime portion will be considered 12 hours. And this is why our watches are broken up that way. Why you have the first hour of the day about 7, the third hour of the day about 9. So you got like 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 and 9. That's about your third hour. And then the 12th hour, the 6th hour is noon. So all of this is based on the 12 hours in a day. So Mashiach is giving us a clue, because he really didn't have to say things this way, but he's giving us a clue for our time, for later when things will be broken up and you got all these different clocks and, they start over at midnight and that doesn't make any sense. That's not 12 hours in a daytime portion. All right, Tamshi.
Verse 10. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbles because there's no light in him.
All right, so there's the other parts of the parable. So let's clarify that real quick of why it's so important to understand this day and night portions. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Kohelet, Ecclesiastes chapter 2. I just want to read a few verses here. We're going to read verses 12 and verse 13.
All right, Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 12. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do that comes after the king, even that which has been already done? Then I saw that wisdom excels folly as far as light excels darkness.
Read 14.
The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. And I myself perceived also that one event happens to them all.
All right. So the wise man's eyes are in his head. So he's thinking according to, he's seeing things according to a vision that's in his head. So he's using the light of this world to light up his path so that he cannot walk in darkness, right? But the fool walks in darkness, which is the knowledge of this world. What man makes up, which is foolishness, is darkness. So this is why Mashiach is saying, walk in the light of the day. So there's no stumbling. So what is that light of the day that you're supposed to be walking into, that he's parabolically and metaphorically comparing? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 8, Yeshayah chapter 8. So what we're trying to do is just get an understanding of, when we get into light, when it comes to Passover and what that has to do with the light of our Passover, but understanding why Mashiach was talking. He was talking multiple layers to hide in plain sight. He's confirming certain things like, look, there's 12 hours in a daytime portion. He's letting you know that because it ain't a whole portion. It's just the daytime portion. He's telling you there's a day and a night. So walk in the daytime portion. So he's letting you know that there's a separation. But then he's telling you about those that walk in the light, right? And then those that walk in the darkness. So let's get a better understanding. Yeshayah chapter 8 of what that is of walking in the light. Let's start at verse 11.
Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 11. For Yahweh spake thus to me with a strong hand, and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying,
all right, so he said, do not walk in the way of this people. Because this people, the people of this world, they walk in the dark. They like to do their deeds in the dark where people don't see them. But when you do righteousness, you're doing your deeds in the daytime where people can see you. You're doing the right thing. You don't need to hide, right? So don't walk as these people walk. They walk with their eyes and walk in darkness. The wise person walks with their eyes in their head, which is walking in the light. All right. So what is the description of these people that are walking a specific way that he does not want us to walk after? Verse 12.
Say you not a confederacy to them to whom this people shall say a confederacy, neither fear you their fear, nor be afraid.
All right. So don't make confederacy. You're not aligning with the people of this world that walk in darkness, that walk only when it's safe for them, in a way that is safe for them to maintain the lust of their flesh, to maintain the desires of their hearts, to maintain their comfortability, to maintain their physical safety. They're going to walk in whatever way. If that means y'all walking in the same direction and it doesn't affect them in a negative way, then they confederate with you. But if it causes them to sacrifice or to lose something, no, they're walking against you. So he said, don't walk and make a confederacy with these people. Don't be afraid of what they're afraid of. They're afraid of things that they do not understand, and they're afraid of losing things that do not belong to them. Don't be afraid of their fear. Verse 13.
Sanctify Yahweh of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling, and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
All right, so this is why, and we just read in the Isaiah 28, that line for line, precept and precept, so that you may fall and be snared and taken. Because if you don't walk according to the light, then you will be taken in a gin and a snare. All right, verse 15.
And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. Bind up the testimony and seal the law among my disciples. And I will wait upon Yahweh that hides his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom Yahweh has given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel, from Yahweh of hosts, which dwells in the Mount Zion.
All right, so we are those signs and wonders in Yasharal. It could be on the good side of the proverb or it could be on the bad side of the proverb. But either way, our actions are going to be the signs and wonders for the world because we are his chosen people to show forth his praise, point blank. So if we don't show forth that praise, you're going to be a sign and wonder. You're going to be one of those proverbs, a shaking of the head, a wagging of the finger.
Verse 19. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their Elohim or Elohim for the living to the dead?
Again, you don't fear what they fear. You don't fear like how they fear. You don't make confederacies. These people making confederacies with the devil, literally. They're literally making covenants with the adversary. And whatever name you want to call them, it don't matter. Anything adverse to Yah's righteousness is the adversary. So they're making covenants with these people. And they're showing you how they're accessing them through familiar spirits, through witchcraft and wizardry and deception with ventriloquism and all, throwing their voice across the room, making it look like they doing this, going to dead spirits, all this type of stuff. But we shouldn't be doing this because the living Elohim chose us and showed himself to us. He would have came face to face, but we had to say, no, we don't want to talk to you face. Please send us an intercessor. All right, read those last two verses, 20 and 21.
All right, verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
There's no light in them. So when they're talking about walking with the light of this world in the daytime, that's this word. Walk according to this word. That's what keeps you in the light. And that is the law and the testimony. We are testifying that the law is true and Yah's word is true and we are his people. So we have to testify. We are his witnesses. So we can't be a good witness if it's dark outside and somebody gets shot and we can't barely see and we murderers ourselves, by the way. And now it's time to testify. They said, well, who did it? We like, I think it was him. How you know? Well, it looked like him. I kind of saw a shadow of a man with some long hair. Well, why didn't you cut on the light so you can see who it is? Well, I was scared. I ain't wanting to see me. So this is what we're doing when we refuse to walk according to the law and the light, the law and the testimony, and using the light, this word, so that we can understand that. So this is what must be put forward in trying to determine when does your new year start. And this is the type of effort that needs to be put forward in order to keep the Pesach. Now let's get into the importance of that. Read that last verse, Art.
Verse 21. And they shall pass through it, hardly bestead and hungry, and it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their Elohim, and look upward. And they shall look unto the earth, and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness.
All right, the darkness of when, all right, the light that used to be the light of the world ain't here no more. We in the wilderness, we gone. You didn't want to you got tired of the woolly faced people out there in the corner screaming. You got tired of of skipping past our videos on the internet. You got tired of every family get together. If we present, we telling you about the week. You get tired of all that. You get tired in your home of the head of your house or the mother of the house telling the children or telling the non-believing spouse. You get tired of all that. But once the light leaves and you in darkness, now what you going to do? Depend on your flesh to save you? So you're going to walk in the darkness. Let's get into the light of Pesach. Let's go to Jubilees, Yobelum chapter 49. If you do not have access to the book of Jubilees, you can always visit our website at IsraeliteGathering.com, or you can visit our application and you can get access to that. All right, let me pull this up. Going to Jubilees. All right, so we're in Yobelum, Jubilees chapter 49. And we're going to start that at verse 1. And again, here a little, there a little, line upon line, precept upon precept. Everything wasn't written in one book, in one section, in one chapter, in one place. You have to refer to multiple places, and they cannot conflict with each other. Yah's word is perfect. There's no contradictions or conflictions. If you read it in its entirety, you can say, look, there's nobody in that house. And you could be telling the truth for that moment. You come back 2 minutes later, the house is full. If you say that same statement, it's a lie. Timing is everything. All right.
Jubilees chapter 49 and verse 1. Remember the commandment which Yahweh commanded you concerning the Passover, that you should celebrate it in its season on the 14th of the first month, that you should kill it before it is evening, and that they should eat it by night on the evening of the 15th, from the time of the setting of the sun.
All right. So a lot of people confuse Passover, unleavened bread. They don't understand that yes, they're each holy days, but they're celebrated in a specific way. So we read one place, Passover is the 14th. So for years, a lot of assemblies, especially the ones that are into the new moon assemblies, on the 14th day of the lunar month, they would keep Passover, and they killing the lamb on the 14th day, starting the 14th day. And these is camps that start their day at night, including the camp that I was baptized out of, immersed out here in Atlanta. We started the 14th day, the starting of that night, which would be a Monday night on a proper calendar, that would start our Passover. And then on the 15th, we started unleavened bread, which will be the preceding night. And that was partially correct. But you're actually celebrating the preparation of Passover on the 14th, because between the 14th day changing over to the 15th is when the action of Passover would take place, and when you're actually killing that lamb and roasting it. All right. Verse 2.
For on this night, the beginning of the festival and the beginning of the joy,
all right, pause right there. So for on this night. So what night is this? Well, you got to go back. We just read it. Said right there. By night on they shall eat it by night on the evening of the 15th. So they're eating it on the 15th day from the time of the setting of the sun. So this is the beginning of the 15th day, right? And because that night, the night of the 15th, they were beginning the festival and beginning the joy, and we're eating the Passover in Mizraim. So you eating the Passover on the 15th, not the 14th. The 14th is the preparation day. The 15th is when you eat the Passover. All right, start that over, verse 2.
For on this night, the beginning of the festival and the beginning of the joy, you were eating the Passover in Mizraim, when all the powers of Mastema had been let loose to slay all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh to the firstborn of the captive maidservant in the mill, and to the cattle. And this is the sign which Yahweh gave them. And to every house on the lintels of which they saw the blood of a lamb of the first year, into that house they should not enter to slay, but should pass by it, that all those should be saved that were in the house, because of the sign of the blood was on its lintels.
All right, so this is parabolic and metaphoric and foreshadowing of our Passover lamb, in which we would be covered under his blood if we allowed him to be our covering. So that's what that represented. And all of this had to be done on the 15th, and it had to be done in haste, because you had to wait for the setting of the sun, which we're going to get to at that time when the sun starts to set. We're going to identify that time. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And the powers of Yahweh did everything according as Yahweh commanded them, and they passed by all the children of Yasharal, and the plague came not upon them to destroy from amongst them any soul, either of cattle or man or dog. And the plague was very grievous in Mizraim, and there was no house in Mizraim where there was not one dead, and weeping and lamentation. And all Yasharal was eating the flesh of the Paschal lamb, and drinking the wine, and was lauding and blessing, and giving thanks to Yahweh Elohim of their fathers, and was ready to go forth from under the yoke of Mizraim and from the evil bondage.
All right, so clearly, this is how you know things had to be done in haste. And this is also a good indication of when your day starts. It has to start at night, because if your daytime starts in daytime, then you would have a whole day to get stuff done before, you would have to even think about eating the Passover and doing all that type of stuff. This had to be done in haste. So if you look at how things are set up, on the 14th day at the time of the setting of the sun, so this is when it's starting to become evening, getting ready to turn over into the 15th, that's when you are going to go ahead and kill the lamb. Once the sun sets, you kill that lamb. All right, but it's still technically the 14th. You have to kill the lamb, roast them, and do everything into the night. And in the night of the 15th, you're able to eat that lamb. All right, go ahead.
Verse 7. And remember you this day all the days of your life, and observe it from year to year all the days of your life, once a year on its day, according to all the law thereof, and do not adjourn it from day to day or from month to month. For it is an eternal ordinance and engraven on the heavenly tablets regarding all the children of Yasharal, that they should observe it every year on its day once a year throughout all their generations. And there is no limit of days, for this is ordained forever.
All right, so this occurrence is going to be tied in to the heavenly tablets. The heavenly tablets is the sky. So this is all based on a light and missing light, which the light of the sun, the light that's reflecting on the moon, the light of the star, all these things are witnesses engraved in the heavenly tablet of the time that you're supposed to observe this Pesach. And observing it keeps this plague off of us. All right, verse 9.
And the man who is free from uncleanness and does not come to observe it on occasion of its day, so as to bring an acceptable offering before Yahweh, and to eat and to drink before Yahweh on the day of its festival, that man who is clean and close at hand shall be cut off, because he offered not the oblation of Yahweh in its appointed season. He shall take the guilt upon himself.
All right. So we are to make that offering on unleavened bread. If you go to Deuteronomy 16, it says 3 times a year, all males must appear before Yah, and they cannot appear empty-handed. You have to have that offering for the three feast seasons. So this starts on unleavened bread, day one. The same time you're going to be doing your Passover lamb. So this is your oblation that you're making and your offerings that you're making. So if you are unclean or there's any situation, you couldn't do this offering initially, right? But if you were clean and you were able to do, and you were in a spiritual state where you can make this offering and chose not to, then that guilt will be upon yourself, because you were supposed to set these days apart so that you can make that offering for your family and allow death to pass over you for the year. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Let the children of Yasharal come and observe the Passover on the day of its fixed time, on the 14th day of the first month, between the evenings, from the third part of the day to the third part of the night. For 2 portions of the day are given to the light, and a third part to the evening.
All right. So now they're breaking up the ancient ways of looking at things. So let the children come observe the Passover on its fixed day on the 14th day of the first month, between the evenings. So you got 2 evenings, from the third part of the day to the third part of the night. So now you have, are there not 12 hours in a day, right? Mashiach said. So take those 12 hours and divide them into thirds. So 12 divided by 3 would be 4. So you have a 4-hour portion, the first third, another 4-hour portion, the second third, and then the last 4-hour portion will be the last third of the 12-hour portion that is given to the day. So let's follow the instructions here. It says between the evenings of the 14th and the 15th, right? And that's from the third part of the day. So this will be the last 4 hours of the 12 hours of day. So that would be, if it starts at 7, then you would have what? Be what? 4, 5, 6, 7. So from about 3 to 4 p.m., this is the beginning of the last portion, the last third of the daytime portion. That's when you start. So now you take that time. So about 3 to 4 p.m., that is when evening starts, because you're starting to grow between equal day and equal night. Excuse me, between halfway between the day and halfway between the night. And then once you reach that even point, then you're growing away from that equal point to mostly day, or you grew away from mostly night. So those 2 evenings will be between the 4 p.m. when the sun is going down, 3 to 4 p.m. when the sun starts to go down, till it reaches the even point, right? Which is the sun halfway, which is sunset, halfway between the horizon, the true measure, all the way till it goes completely dark. All right, Tom Sheep. And again, quickly, so that third part of the day to the third part of the night, the third part of the night is the same situation. You got 12 hours a night. The last 4 hours of the nighttime portion, that's when you keep it to. That's why you had to get rid of it before the morning, because when the morning comes, that's the beginning of the daylight portion. All right, verse 11.
This is that which Yahweh commanded you, that you should observe it between the evenings.
So the Torah gives you the same instruction, but it uses the word bain that they just put in the evenings. But if you look at the Hebrew there, it was bain, which means between. So it's there in Torah, but they wrote it in English to kind of confuse you a little bit.
Verse 12. And it is not permissible to slay it during any period of the light, but during the period bordering on the evening, and let them eat it at the time of the evening until the third part of the night, and whatever is left over of all its flesh from the third part of the night and onwards, let them burn it with fire.
All right. So the third part of the night, the last 4 hours of night, you got to make sure you burnt up all that stuff, burnt up all that offering, burnt up all that lamb, and get rid of any leftovers because you got to be up out of there. Remember, this was done in haste. They had to do all of this from sundown and be back in their homes before midnight. Because remember, at midnight, that's when the slaying angel came through and killed off all the firstborns, because we know by midnight is when Pharaoh realized his firstborn was dead and kicked him out. So that means it had to be done pretty quick. They couldn't be celebrating all night like a regular holy day. They had to be in haste and be back in their houses covered under that blood. So again, it's not permissible to slay during any period of the light. So on the 14th day, you got 12 hours of light, right? 12 hours in a day. It wasn't permissible, but it said, wait a minute, the last third of the daytime portion is given to the night. That's why from 3 to 4 p.m. on the 14th is when they kill the Passover lamb. Now you pair that with Mashiach. This is about the time that Mashiach was being killed. Is when they're slaying that Passover. When they grab that lamb to slay that Passover, you can't do that to grab that lamb until the third part of the day, which is 3 to 4 p.m. Same with Mashiach, because he is our Passover lamb. Continue.
Verse 13. And they shall not cook it with water, nor shall they eat it raw, but roast on the fire. They shall eat it with diligence, is hid with the inwards thereof, and its feet they shall roast with fire, and not break any bone thereof. For of the children of Yasharal no bone shall be crushed.
All right, so they shall not cook it with water, nor shall it eat it raw. So you can't eat it raw, but it got to be fully cooked. So they say you need to barbecue, roast with fire, barbecue that lamb. Don't even get rid of it. Cook the whole thing. And then you got to eat it without breaking the bone. How do you eat something without breaking the bone? That means you got to eat it on the bone. You can't cut it into pieces. You just got to chunk out pieces of it. That's the only way you can eat it without breaking the bone. Because if you cut it up, you're going to break the bone. So this means it had to be done quick, and everybody had to eat a little bit of it and keep it moving. This wasn't everybody just get full type of meal. This was symbolic. Everybody get a piece and keep it moving. Tom Sheep.
Verse 14. For this reason, Yahweh commanded the children of Yasharal to observe the Passover on the day of its fixed time, and they shall not break a bone thereof. For it is the festival day, and a day commanded, and there may be no passing over from day to day and month to month. But on the day of its festival, let it be observed. And do you command the children of Yasharal to observe the Passover throughout their days, every year, once a year on the day of its fixed time, and it shall come for a memorial well-pleasing before Yahweh, and no plague shall come upon them to slay or to smite in that year in which they celebrate the Passover in its season, in every respect according to his command.
Hallelujah. So there's the protection that we have. It says that if we keep the Passover according to the way it was written, then no plague shall come upon us to slay or smite us in that year. So it's the same situation. Do you believe Yah? Remember, our original forefathers, if they did not believe Yah, I said, well, I ain't putting no blood on the lintel. I'm going to hang out all night. You'd be dead. You would be dead, especially if you were a firstborn. You're out of there. So they believed and they were spared. But those same ancestors, the moment they stopped believing, they lost their lives. As it is to this day, it's no different. Do you believe Yah? Do you believe his calculations? All right, let's go to Numbers, Bar Midbar, chapter 9. Numbers chapter 9. and we're going to read verses 1 through 14. So, just a quick review. We started off with here a little, there a little. Isaiah 28, so we understand you can't go and get everything in one spot. So we went to Jubilees. You can go to Exodus 12. You can confirm the same information. And now we're going to Numbers chapter 9, and we're also looking at the same Passover. And in this situation, and if you read the rest of Jubilees 49, it talks about, that you can't keep Passover anywhere else. Once they established the temple, you cannot keep it outside the temple. But when we were in the wilderness, we kept it in the wilderness. We kept it on the run. But once that temple was built up, we could not keep it. So now that puts us in a situation because the temple was already built. And the temple was rebuilt in Mashiach. So we can't keep it in Jerusalem. We don't have that temple no more. So we can't keep it. We can't do the sacrifice aspect. And furthermore, Mashiach was that perfect sacrifice. So we can't do it on that side. But we still have to memorialize it. If we go to Exodus 12, it says, you shall memorialize this forever. You're supposed to remember these things. So you're supposed to conduct yourself in the same type of holiness where you keep yourself clean and set aside these days. You hedge about these days so that you could be prepared to make your offering. All right. And again, we don't do the blood offering no more because we're in the grace period, but you still have to make that offering before Yah. All right. So Numbers chapter 9, and we're going to start this at verse 1.
All right. Verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they were come out of the land of Mizraim, saying, let the children of Yasharal also keep the Passover at his appointed season.
All right. So they kept the first Passover. They kept it in Egypt. All right. That's the first one. This is the second year. For the first year, they had to keep it in the wilderness. Now it's the second year. Well, the first year in the wilderness, second year after they come out of the land of Egypt, they had to keep it in the wilderness. All right. So it's showing you they're not keeping it in Israel. They're keeping it in the wilderness. All right. Verse 2.
In the 14th day of this month at even, you shall keep it at his appointed season, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof, shall you keep it.
All right. So remember I told you where it says at even, but then that's contradiction because it says between evenings, right? Well, let's look at that word. Bane. Again, bane or bane. Between, a distinction. It's a preposition, between. All right. So it's letting you know it's between evenings. But if you're reading it in the Hebrew, wouldn't be any confusion. But because they wrote it in English, they wrote it in a way that could be confusing. All right, Tom Sheep.
Verse 4. And Moshe spake unto the children of Yasharal that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at even in the wilderness of Sinai. According to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe, so did the children of Yasharal. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day, and they came before Moshe and before Aaron on that day.
All right. So remember when we read in Jubilees, the man that is not unclean from defilement and does not come and keep the Passover will be cut off from amongst his people. So now you have a situation where this brother is defiled by a dead body. So somebody died and they had to carry the body out of there. But it's, were they going to leave the body till after Passover and let it stink up the place and make the place unclean? They couldn't do that. They had to honor this person, bury him, and get rid of him. Somebody had to do it. So that made these men unclean. So they came before Aaron for some counsel. What do I do? Because I don't want to be cut off from among my people. Verse 7.
And those men said unto him, we are defiled by the dead body of a man. Wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of Yahweh in his appointed season among the children of Yasharal. And Moshe said unto them, Stand still, and I will hear what Yahweh will command concerning you.
So that's some little instructions on how to deal with situations. Leadership. Go to Yah. Don't just make something up. Who are you? This is Yah's laws. Go to Yah for instruction or find instruction. You don't make decisions around here. Even Moses. Verse 9.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharal, saying, If any man of you or of your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto Yahweh. The 14th day of the second month at even they shall keep it, and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs.
All right, so that's another clue of how you're supposed to keep Passover. It's supposed to be with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. So he's saying if you were made defiled by a dead body and could not come down and keep the Pesach, then you had to wait until the second month between the 14th and 15th month and carry out the same exact rites and rituals. So Passover was so important that if you missed it for whatever reason of uncleanness, and this particular reason is saying by a dead body, you had to come keep the second Passover. That's how important it was to Yah for you to do that. That he said, here's a second try. Go ahead.
Verse 12. They shall leave none of it unto the morning, nor break any bone of it. According to all the ordinances of the Passover, they shall keep it. But the man that is clean, and is not in a journey, and forbears to keep the Passover, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he brought not the offering of Yahweh in his appointed season, that man shall bear his sin.
All right, so he should be cut off from among his people. So, what does that mean to be cut off from among his people? Well, guess what? His people about to inherit the earth. They're about to inherit the kingdom, be the jewels of the earth, right? Well, if you cut off from among your people, you no longer of the nation of Yasharal. You Gentile. You might not even be alive. Go ahead. But look at Yah's fairness. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And if a stranger shall sojourn among you, and will keep the Passover unto Yahweh, according to the ordinance of the Passover, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do. You shall have one ordinance, both for the stranger and for him that was born in the land.
Hallelujah. So whether you were born here or you were far off or whatever, it's the same law for the children of Yasharal. And now if you do have somebody of another nation that happens to be staying with you, sojourning among you, they have to keep your laws because they in your land, they in your house. In their house, they can do whatever they want. You can't tell them what to do. But in your house, in your land, they have to keep the same law because Yah is fair. He's uniform. So if they are unclean, they can't keep it. But if they there the second month, they got to keep it. All right. So there you have the second Passover. So this was letting us know that, there was going to be situations where there's going to be so much death that some people were just not going to be able. Death happens, right? Well, fast forward to now in the land of our captivity, there's dead bodies everywhere. They building dead bodies. They building on top of dead bodies. They finding dead children buried in places. I mean, it's just the blood is everywhere that was shed in this country. So we are made unclean. We can't go into the land as defiled. We can't do it here because many of our houses built on our own dead ancestors that they called Indians before they were called, and then later called blacks and African Americans. All this land is filled with their blood and their bones everywhere. How do we keep Pesach? Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 30 for the conclusion. 2 Chronicles, that's Dibri Hayamim, chapter 30. Because we are clearly unclean, every last one of us, even if you try. Whether it's the clothes, whether it's the air, whether it's the land you're on, whether it's the days that you're using, it's just something, there's so much to cause us to be unclean that we don't even know about. How can we do something that got to be done forever? Second Chronicles, Divri Hayamim, chapter 30, and let's start this at verse 1 and go through verse 21 for the conclusion.
All right, Second Chronicles chapter 30 and verse 1. And Hezekiah sent to all Yasharal and Jehoiada, and wrote letters also unto Ephraim and Manasseh, that they should come to the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal. For the king had taken counsel, and his princes, and all the congregation in Jerusalem, to keep the Passover in the 2nd month.
All right, so you got King Hezekiah talking to the northern tribes, come on down and keep the Passover. They weren't really dealing with each other at the time. And you know the northern tribes had been cut off. They weren't really dealing with the law. So they're unclean. But Hezekiah, King Hezekiah is trying to reconcile. Come back. Keep this. You can't keep it the 1st month because you're unclean. Get yourself together, come back and keep it the 2nd month. All right.
Verse 3. For they could not keep it at that time, because the priests had not sanctified themselves sufficiently, neither had the people gathered themselves together to Jerusalem. And the thing pleased the king and all the congregation. So they established a decree to make a proclamation throughout all Yasharal, from Beersheba even to Dan, that they should come to keep the Passover unto Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal at Jerusalem, for they had not done it of a long time in such sort as it was written.
As it is to this day, we still haven't done it. We don't have no temple. And most of our assemblies still haven't done it right. They don't understand. Some still actually killing lambs. Then you got others that, they're keeping it on the 14th day. It's just we all over the place. Some is on the new moon. Some is on the shadow moon, the dark moon, the full moon. It's just all over. Then you got the equinox people that's saying, hey, well, we wait until the new moon after the equinox. So you way off and way into the new year because the equinox is the 20th. Then you waiting for the new moon, you way in April. So we all over the place. Go ahead.
Verse 6. So the post went with the letters from the king and his princes throughout all Yasharal and Jehoiada, and according to the commandment of the king, saying, You children of Yasharal, turn again unto Yahweh Elohim of Abraham, Yishak, and Yasharal, and he will return to the remnant of you that are escaped out of the hand of the kings of Assyria.
All right, so out of the northern tribes, all the Syrian captivity, he said, return to Yah, and he will return to you. Return to the God of Abraham, Yashak, and Yaakov, the God of Israel. Return, and he'll return to you. Verse 7.
And be not like your fathers, and like your brethren, which trespassed against Yahweh Elohim of their fathers, who therefore gave them up to desolation, as you see. Now be you not stiff-necked, as your fathers were, but yield yourselves unto Yahweh, and enter into his sanctuary, which he has sanctified forever, and serve Yahweh, your Elohim, that the fierceness of his wrath may turn away from you. For if you turn again unto Yahweh, your brethren and your children shall find compassion before them that led them captive, so that they shall come again into this land. For Yahweh your Elohim is gracious and merciful, and will not turn away his face from you if you return unto him.
So this is how you started to have some of us come back into northern Israel, started to get to, to different parts and into, Gaza and all those different areas. We started to be able to come into those areas because we were called back. And interesting enough, the king that put us back, that's Iran. The Persians are the ones that put us back. The Medo-Persians. are the ones that put us back. The same people the state of Israel is trying to fight right now. Interesting. Verse 10.
So the post passed from cities to city through the country of Ephraim and Manasseh, even unto Zebulun, but they laughed them to scorn and mocked them. Nevertheless, divers of Asher and Manasseh and of Zebulun humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem.
So there's always a remnant, even in the northern tribes, where a majority of them laughed, mocked, and I'm sure they made up excuses. Well, we can't do it because we're not in the land. Well, come home. Well, we can't do it. It's too far. Oh, we can't do it because, we Israel split up. Can't do it because I got business over here. Who are you? I'm doing well in Assyria. I'm doing well in Sukkoth and all those other places. I'm doing great. Verse 11, verse 12.
Also in Yahweh, the hand of Elohim was to give them one heart to do the commandment of the king and of the princes by the word of Yahweh. And there assembled at Jerusalem much people to keep the feast of unleavened bread in the 2nd month, a very great congregation. And they arose and took away the altars that were in Jerusalem, and all the altars for incense took they away, and cast them into the brook Kidron. Then they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the 2nd month, and the priests and the Levites were ashamed, and sanctified themselves, and brought in the burnt offerings into the house of Yahweh. And they stood in their place after their manner, according to the law of Moshe, the man of Elohim. The priests sprinkled the blood which they received of the hand of the Levites. For there were many in the congregation that were not sanctified, therefore the Levites had the charge of the killing of the Passovers, for every one that was not clean, to sanctify them unto Yahweh. For a multitude of the people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh, Issachar and Zebulun, had not cleansed themselves, yet did they eat the Passover, otherwise than it was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, the good Yahweh pardon everyone.
All right, so you have people in situations, look, they coming out of captivity. They haven't been around the structure. They didn't have the support. They're around Gentiles. And their priests were corrupt. The good priests left the northern tribes and came back to the southern tribes. But Yah is still calling and Yah is still having mercy. And a king prayed for them and said, look, pardon everyone. Please forgive them, Yah. And why is he asking for forgiveness? Verse 19.
The good Yahweh pardon everyone that prepares his heart to seek Elohim, Yahweh Elohim of his fathers, though he be not cleansed according to the purification of the sanctuary. And Yahweh hearkened to Hezekiah and healed the people. And the children of Yasharal that were present at Jerusalem kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with great gladness, and the Levites and the priests praised Yahweh day by day, singing with loud instruments unto Yahweh.
Hallelujah. And Yahweh hearkened to Hezekiah and he healed the people. So Yah has the ability to cleanse us. If you prepared your heart to seek Yah, and how do you prepare your heart? You have to change the way your heart operates, the way your mind operates. That heart of stone is just going to walk in the night, doing whatever it got to do to hide its deeds and to keep its comfortability and to keep its heart going, keep its way of life going. But when you are preparing your heart, you are walking in the daytime. You are walking according to the law and testimony, which is going to expose your deeds of whether they're righteous or whether they're wicked. You're not going to lie to yourself and say, oh, it's okay. This is okay. Yah's cool with this. In the dark, you can do that because everybody doing it in the dark. But in the daytime, everybody looking. So you prepare your heart. Repent. Put your deeds up against Yah's word and make whatever changes, and you're still going to be unclean. But Yah will pardon you. He will heal you. so that one day, Yah's will, we can keep the real Passover with the real Passover lamb, Yahweh Shai, in the land. But until then, we have to do it under the light of our Passover, which is this word, which is his example, which is the state of repentance and memorializing these days so that no plague comes upon us this year. So that's all we're going to do today. If we have any last questions or comments, again, thank you everybody that hung in there. Again, we are Israelites Gathering. If you haven't already, visit our website at israelitesgathering.com. You can also download our free application for your cell phone, which is also under Israelites Gathering. Checking the comments here to see if there's any questions. Keep in mind, if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at info@israelitesgathering.com. And if you would like to tithe through this ministry, you can send us money at our Cash App, which is $SWORD-ATL. So then keep in mind, we have our Passover, where we actually eat the Passover is coming up. That's going to be Wednesday, April 1st, the preparation day, which is the last day for you to get all the leaven out your house, and all that will be that Tuesday. All right. The 30th, 31st, the last day, the last day of March. So that's all we're going to do today. Brother Cassette, anything else you want to close out before we close?
No, I think you touched on everything. Hopefully, always a needed class.
Praise Yah. We always want to stay in it. Every year he gives us a little bit more. And as we see these events stack up, we understand the Persians play a part and the Medes play a part. And those people are so intermixed and so close to each other, we don't know what's what. So biblical times ahead of us, as in the times that are with us. And we want to continue setting ourselves apart, because Yah is going to start elevating his people and letting it be known who the real children of Yahshua are. So that's all we're going to do today. Yah's will, we will see you next week for Shabbat. Until then, everybody enjoy your Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, y'all.